Hey y'all, welcome to the filling station. It has been an interesting day in the market, right? Yeah, let me go ahead and give my disclaimer before we get started. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth, and the stock market is just one of those avenues. So this video is for educational purposes only. With that being said, y'all, let's get started, right? Tesla. Tesla. Let's just start with Tesla, right? As you can see here, we marked our 30-minute gathering spot, and Tesla, this morning I did my pre-market video a little bit earlier than I normally do, but I went ahead and marked the gathering spot for the 30-minute, and Tesla traded in that area, right? The concern was when as soon as the bell rung, Tesla ran up and made this high of 175.24, right? And it was surprising because we were in the 168, 169 area, and then to just run all the way up to 175.24. And what's even more shocking for me, let me say that because, yeah, I get to thinking, like, why? So Tesla had a downgrade. So with the downgrade, why is the stock moving up the way that it is? Normally when a stock is downgraded, normally it tends to move to the downside. So Tesla did the total opposite. Let me say that. So we ran up, made a high of 175.24, only to come back down. You see how it went, as soon as that price went all the way up like there, sellers brought that price all the way back down to around the 172.62 area. But the concern was, even the next candle we came down, Tesla came down and made a low of 169.77. So about 1030, 1040, 1050, that double bottom, it went back to the upside, consolidated a little bit more, tried to go up a little bit more, only to come back down a little bit. It was just strange moving for me today, right? My concern is Tesla was above the 5 EMA on the daily chart. So are we going to find support there and continue to the upside, or are we going to, get rejected and come back to the downside? That's something that we would need to watch for Tesla. I'm really concerned about this move up. I just don't trust the move up based on, you know, I think it just got some other news about the deliveries. They're going to have to give some type of information to every U.S. sale. They're going to have to explain something to them. I didn't get the full details about it, but I did know that Elon said that it will possibly slow down delivery. So in my opinion, that's going to be a holdup or an issue for right now until I get the kinks worked out. But Tesla is Tesla. That's all I can say with that one. So let's go to the VIX because that's where I started this morning. And it looks like the VIX just traded sideways. I mean, looking at it on a higher time frame, it really did. It looks like it traded sideways. It came down. We were already, let's see, today we were at the 1370 range, which was up here. So as soon as the market opened, it seemed like it came down, so that means the SPY must have went up, which was a little concerning for me based on what we were seeing pre-market, right? It consolidated for a while, and then it tried to break out of this consolidation, and it's just interesting. So tomorrow is going to definitely be an interesting day based on the patterns that I'm seeing today. NVDA is another one, right? Pre-market, I think the pre-market high was 954. We came all the way down pre-market, and our gathering spot was right here at the 943.44 down to the 935.92. We came down, we tested that area, it seemed like right before the bell, and guess what? So we went all the way up to 967.66, broke through that pre-market high, which was 954.54. We went up. Sellers were right there again to bring that price back to the downside, and it looks like we pretty much consolidated. We came down here, but we back in that area of kind of like consolidation. So that's why I say tomorrow should be a very interesting day based on how the market has performed today. And looking at the SPY, this is one of those where it makes my eye dance too many times, so I don't trade those often. when my eye is constantly bouncing or moving. Look at the wicks on these candles. That is like an up and down, sideways type movement. I don't trade those. It broke out of the gathering spot we marked this morning, As soon as it broke out of that area, we went up, tested the 20 EMA. We broke through that only to climb back up and try to test this 50 EMA. After that, the sellers were like, okay, we're going to take that back down for a little bit. And then it traded sideways. But look at the wicks on the top and the wicks on the bottom. So it's like the buyers and the sellers were just right there, in that range throughout the day. All day, let's say that. So I look at these pivot places right here. Normally your MACD will give you an indication with that too. That sometimes if you were watching it carefully, you could watch that for an entry. Let's look at it on the, see, I don't even know if I would have traded this today based on all of this would have drove me to another level of crazy, because it just makes sure I just bounce all over the place. And if you're looking at, this is the 5-minute chart, right? So if you're looking at it carefully, your MACD is not giving you a clear signal as to taking this trade, right? Now here is somewhat of a signal to the downside. One, we are making lower lows, 5 and 50 cross, which is here, and your MACD is kind of fanned out just a little bit. So out of all of the trades here, I would not have taken any of that. This one seems to be a little bit more comfortable for me. And you have to know what's comfortable for you. What are you looking for when you make your trades, right? But this sideways movement, that is something I definitely cannot do. So be careful with that, because if you trade that way, that is a way to go in and lose your money, because you can't get, unless you are a very, very fast scalper. This type of movement, these type of candles, this type of activity here is a good way to lose money. You want to make profitable trades, and you want to be strategic with your trades. You want to make sure that your trades, when you go in, you have a better probability or better chance at making a profit, because this, like this, it's not the best in my opinion. Let me say in my opinion, right? So let's look at the Qs for a moment, because I think, everything was a little different in my opinion. I'm going to say it was different, right? So we looked at the Qs this morning, and this was the gathering spot was here. It broke out of that pre-market, right? We consolidated. So it found support. It consolidated here during pre-market, and I'll go ahead and mark that to show you. We had a gathering spot here, and with that, it bounced and it moved to the upside. So if you trade the Qs, if you caught that right at the open, that could have been a decent trade, right? And then you had the 5 and 50 crossing here only to continue to the upside. So, and it's above the 5 EMA. This is an example to me of riding the 5. Even though it's got some wicks, which a lot of wicks on the top and a lot of wicks on the bottom, it's still above the 5 EMA, and it's not as busy as the SPY was when we were just looking at the SPY. So that's something to think about when you're looking at your charts or looking at your trades, making sure that where are my candles in reference to the 5 EMA, if you use the 5 EMA, let me say that. So that 5 and 50 crossing is confirmation for me. I'm going to look at this on a 5-minute time frame, but again, even though these candles are smaller or together, it's still not bunched up in the up and down like the SPY was. We have some type of incline. Even though the MACD, in my opinion, was a little separated, I'm not sure I would want to have, looking at it on a smaller time frame, not quite sure I would have traded this based on what I see with the MACD. However, looking at it on the 30-minute, we could have made an entry, but this I definitely would not have wanted to trade, because you want to be strategic with your moves. You want to be strategic with your trades, right? AMD was a good trade for today, right at the open, right out the gates, right? So this is AMD on the 5-minute chart. The 5 and 50 cross right here at the open. Your MACD gave you an indication that moving to the upside. You could have rode the 5 on this one from, even with the MACD crossing at the 174.50 area, 174.54. You could have got in around that 175 range and got out at 182. That would have been a good trade to the upside, riding the 5, waiting on the, paying attention to your charts. What are the charts showing me? That's what I see at this point. I didn't trade AMD. And then you could have looked, I wouldn't have wanted to trade this area here. I would have said maybe we could have looked for a downside entry. If you're a scalper, you could have gotten out to the upside, and then, as soon as it crossed here, to the downside, because your MACD did give a signal right here to the downside. So that's something to think about. Even if you ride the stock, take the stock to the upside, you can definitely get back in it and trade it to the downside if you trade that way. Let me say that. So that's something to think about. Again, we can make money in either direction as long as we have the direction right. We're on the right side of the trade. So yeah, y'all, today has been an interesting day in my opinion with the market and how the market was moving pre-market and how things just turned around and shifted and back to the sideways and not really going anywhere. So it'll be interesting to see how Tesla runs tomorrow and the SPY run tomorrow. So yeah, y'all, again, we learn and we grow together. I try to just look at the charts and see what I learned from them at the end of the day and things that I trying to develop a trading style and what works for me. That's the hardest thing with trading. You can get the information, but you have to develop what works for you. So again, I hope that these videos are helpful. I hope they're encouraging. And yeah, we learn and we grow together. I say that often, right? So y'all, until next time, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. And I like to leave you with this always. Be blessed as well as a blessing unto others. Until next time.